Welcome to Vintage Variety. Today we're going to do a jewelry unboxing.
I'm going to start with this. This was a gift from my daughter-in-law, and I'm going to share it with you guys. She gave me two different gifts. This is the first one. I'm just going to take it out of the box. This is a cute little vintage purse. Now, it does have a little bit of staining. I am going to see if I can clean this. If I can't, I'm going to leave it the way it is because I don't want to damage it. I have mentioned before that I do collect vintage and antique purses. You can see this was very well loved. Quite a bit of staining there. And this is one of those purses, it has the really stiff wire opening. The inside hasn't disintegrated yet, so I'm going to guess that this little guy is probably from the 1950s or could even be from the 60s. But this is nice. I'll add this to my collection of vintage and antique purses. This is the second box, and I'm going to unwrap everything so you guys can see it. But here's a little bit of a peek. These are all vintage earrings. I believe most of them are clip-on with the exception of this one. This one is convertible. It can be used as a clip-on or a screw back. And it has an Aurora Borealis type stone in it. It's very well made. Then I have a larger pair here. And these are also clip-on. I may test these later on to see if they're sterling. They're quite heavy. And we have all these little pairs of cluster earrings. Look at these. Are these not gorgeous? Look at the stone in them. And I think these are signed Japan. They are. I love the old vintage pieces of Japan jewelry. Very beautiful. I'm going to zoom in so you can get a really good look at that center stone. These, you can tell, aren't in perfect condition. You can see some of the coatings coming off of some of these beads, but I still think they're quite lovely. And you know what? These are wearable even today. And it just looks like they're made that way, even though some of the coating's coming off. Who's gonna know? And then we have this pair with the little faux pearls. And I think these are Japan also. Let's zoom in. Japan. These are nice. I love the color. Aren't these pretty? Now I have a pair similar to these. These are the faceted Aurora Borealis type beads. But I do not have a pair in blue. For those of you that are curious, the unsigned earrings like this, they'll usually run anywhere from $2 to $6. It's really going to depend on how collectible they are. For example, ones like this, I would say at least about $8. These are signed Japan, and because they're so beautiful, if I were going to sell these, I would probably sell them for about $12. The prices that I'm giving you on these would be if I were listing them for sale, that's how I would list them. That's to kind of give you ideas of values. These are much more substantial and they're very well made and quite heavy, so they would go for a little bit more. So this next item, I've went ahead and cut the packaging, and we're going to unwrap this so I can show you guys what I have inside. Isn't she lovely? This is a portrait cameo, and it's done on porcelain. And I'm going to turn it over and let you see the clasp on it. It has the C clasp. Then you'll notice that it has the later type of hinge on it. So that tells me that this is most likely Edwardian. So this is an antique cameo. I do see a little bit of verdigris on this, so before I put this or store it anywhere near other jewelry, I'm going to very carefully clean the back of it to remove that. I do collect cameos, and when I saw this, I wanted to add it to my collection. I got it for a very good price, and I bought this off of Etsy. So here's the next one. I've already cut it open, so I'm going to unpack everything and let you guys see what's in this one. Couldn't help but get cracked up with this. So they used an Amazon mailer, because when I first got this, I thought, what did I order off of Amazon? Until I looked at the front, which I'm not going to show you for that person's privacy. And then for the inside, we have Snore Stop, the snoring specialist. I really admire their ingenuity in recycling items to package items that they sell. Okay guys, so this is what we have. First I'm going to explain to you that none of this is in its original condition. These are pieces that have been repurposed, hoping, or rather I believe, that the seller of this or the person that did this repurposed it from something that was broken. I thought it was unique and unusual, and because it is made of vintage or possibly antique components, I went ahead and purchased it to add to my collection. And I'm going to give you a little bit of background about this part of the jewelry. Often if you're looking online, you'll run across pieces of jewelry that look like this, and they're listed as Persian. What you see on here is the Persian style miniature painting. I've seen bracelets like this. I've also seen pendants and necklaces like this. What has been done with this, she's used vintage components and put all this together and really made a really lovely parure. But what I really want to tell you guys or talk about are the pieces that you will run across that are Persian and have these little Persian miniature scenes on them or portraits. Give you a really close look at the earrings. You can see they've just painted a little scene on there, a little floral scene. Probably was on a bracelet, could have been on a necklace at one time or the other. And the seller has used the other pieces and they've attached it to this. You can see that these have little roses on them. When you do run across pieces like this that are in their original condition, the first thing you want to know is, yes, they're Persian. Usually they are set into a metal that looks to be silver, but it is usually not sterling. It's usually going to be some kind of other alloy, some other type of metal. Could be tin, could be copper. Actual pieces or the tiles, they can be made from shell, ivory, ox bone, mother of pearl. A lot of times they're just black lacquer. These pieces are not that rare, but they are vintage. Sometimes they're antique. This type of jewelry has been around since the early 1920s. Some pieces predate the 1920s. Most of the pieces, however, are going to date from 1920 into the 1940s. Pieces were often purchased in Iran by U.S. servicemen and English servicemen to take back home to a loved one. These pieces are relatively plentiful. A panel bracelet in its original condition will run between $30 to $50. That's a pretty decent price for it. I would not pay more than $30 to $35 simply because, in my opinion, these are not a huge collectible item, but they are unique and they are fun to own. So I really wanted to share that with you guys. I think this is really pretty jewelry. I may keep it. It depends on whether or not I wear it. Very unique pieces. The tiles, again, as I mentioned earlier, have been repurposed and put together And the way that they have been done is absolutely beautiful. My only hope is that all of this was made from broken and repairable pieces. Now we're down to this item. I've already opened the mailer and undid all the packaging. This was very nicely wrapped. And this is absolutely gorgeous. Is this not beautiful? It is very weighty. These are all glass beads. I'll show you the clasp on it. This looks like it needs to be tightened up just a little bit. I believe these are Czech glass beads. Give you a really close look of how this necklace is put together. I believe this necklace is probably from the 1930s. Pieces like this are highly collectible and they're only going to grow in value. Just a beautiful, beautiful piece of jewelry.
I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to share these items with me. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications on more content about collecting vintage and antique items. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.